Okay, then, baby. Took me a good second. Oh, I gotta fucking fix your camera. God damn it. Welcome to... God damn, where's my camera? Anyways, I'll figure this out in a second. This is episode 18 of the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Michael Marcanio, and I'm here with my boys, Tyler, with Andre Navarro, and Anthony Revelis.
Oh, that threw me off.
Dude, I think we're getting Tanner every episode.
We're giving you the
We're gonna be
stats and the
African
facts.
by football season.
Seriously, this is
People might be thinking we're talking about football.
Football.
I'm gonna
I
do
know,
that.
seriously.
He's Brazil.
You know
Cristiano
what
Ronaldo with 3 goals today.
we do get a
Led
lot
me to
of
a fantasy victory.
related videos
gotta
on
be good.
YouTube that are like whenever I put football anything in any type of hashtag. So yeah, it's kind of weird. So speaking of YouTube, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just type in AVG Fantasy Football on YouTube if you're listening to this audio in the future. If you're listening to this in the future and you're like, dang, I want to be a part of these guys' podcasts, well, you can. Every Thursday live stream at 7 p.m. You can come and join us on the live stream. Maybe. Oh shit, that's me. I thought it was one of you guys.
I wish I knew how to
Pretty
do
far
that
away from us.
from where I'm standing.
Dude, I'm just fucking up royally today.
Sorry, there's something going on with the moon.
I really think
Apparently.
Would you say it's in retrograde?
Mercury's in retrograde.
Dre
You
woke
never
up.
heard that saying before?
I have heard that.
I'm not saying necessarily I believe in it, but people be like, oh yeah, things are falling apart because Mercury's in retrograde.
I'm crazy because Mercury's in retrograde.
That's a very chick thing to say.
Hey, usually, full moons do bring out the weirdos that, dude, especially in restaurants. Like
freaks come out at night.
Crazy things happen. It's like, what? Is it a full moon?
Yeah.
There is like some like they're more like like the oceans, like the tide raises and all that when the moon. There's more like some of gravity and all that shit. But
I remember reading something they're saying if you want to throw a party, you should do it on a full moon because like you're saying, like it gets more like wild.
Oh, it's more of a.
So when's the
it's a natural aphrodisiac. My
the
birthday
next
is
full
Friday.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
we
have
are-
a full moon.
Look that up.
Party.
Yeah.
what's the full moon schedule?
That's actually like, what are we doing here? That's actually a thing in like the Philippines, Thailand, yeah.
I think we were kind of
Full
waiting on
moon
you.
parties. Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
good,
what
hey,
we
good
were
job,
doing here.
good job, guys.
So,
we
good
got it.
job.
Yeah, we got a bullshit.
That was filler info.
So follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. All of these things you just search AVG Fantasy Football or Average AVG. Yeah, leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcast app if you could. That helps us a lot. So today we don't have anything especially special. We don't have anything super special today, but what we're gonna go over is just recent headlines that was in the news. Stuff that's somewhat fantasy football related, but it is 100% football related. So
Yes.
obviously in the off season, there's not a ton of stuff you can talk about, but you know,
Yeah, you start talking about moons.
Yeah, exactly.
Next full moon is June 5th.
You covered the recent headlines, and then and then I was gonna say, if you're listening
Yeah,
to this in the
believe you.
future, if you want to figure out different parts of the episode, like when we talk about certain things, go down into the description. There's a table of contents there, and you can just skip through the episode and find the best parts that you like. All right,
Dude.
You boys ready to get into it, or
Bro,
what?
it's a buck moon, too. I'm ready.
Wait, did you just say it's your birthday, Dre?
Next Friday, bro.
Oh, next Friday.
And there's a full moon.
On Friday.
That's what he said.
Oh,
On my
nice.
birthday. It's called the buck moon.
June 5th. No, that's July. It's the strawberry moon.
Oh, it's a strawberry moon.
Ooh, love strawberries.
I love strawberries.
Strawberries
Take those in
are
chocolate
good.
and just call it a dessert.
You know when you cut a strawberry in half, what it looks like?
What?
Go
Yeah,
cut it.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say
It's a
it.
strawberry. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. That
I'm gonna do it.
made my day.
I'm gonna do it.
Made my day.
I'm gonna do it.
Perfect.
All right, let's get
All right.
into it. We
Lead
got
us.
headlines here. First thing here.
We get like a headlines drop.
I know.
Boom.
Is there a song by Drake headlines?
Here, I'll do it. Welcome. It's time to go over the recent fantasy football headlines.
It's pretty good.
All right. So, Carlos, I know.
Yeah, you're right.
Carlos Hyde goes to the Seahawks. Jesus fuck.
Chill, man.
I just get frustrated with myself, dude. Yeah, Carlos Hyde goes to the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, this is a big thing for Chris Carson. What do you guys think? What's your initial thoughts with this whole thing?
It's a depth move to an extent. I don't even know if Carlos Hyde's past the Is it a physical? I'm trying to look it up right now. He's not even like necessarily guaranteed for week 1. It's kind of funny. They go out and sign a guy who's because I remember reading something about it. He has an injury he's coming off of too.
Is it because they can't do a team physical, like because of the whole social distancing thing and stuff like that?
Possibly.
Could that be what it is? Like no one's allowed to come to the because I think the team facilities are closed.
Well,
right?
yeah. What happened to what I heard? I think it was on ESPN. They were talking about how he played through the Ocho, the DS, whatever got going on. How he was playing last year through some kind of injury, and it's carried into the offseason. So I don't even know what that status is. I'll try and look that up so I can give you guys accurate information with that. Not making sure, but I did hear that for sure. So let me see if I can pull it up.
Word.
But we can talk about his status in the meantime. Or what do you guys feel on it?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad move. It's surprising that Carlos Hyde he's going to be 29, so he's been in the league for a while. And looking at his numbers last year, I want to say was probably his most productive. I mean, he ran for 1,000 yards for the first time, most amount of carries he's ever had in a season for his career. So that was that was good to see. I mean, they used him. I don't know. It's weird. He's just one of those like 19 carries, 80-yard kind of guys every time, and then with a touchdown. Football wise and fantasy, he's pretty consistent. He's not going to win you games, but they have a lot of injuries over there. So I know they're looking for, and they, like you said, a depth move. So with with Chris Carson and Rashad Penny, who's not going to be ready, they're banking more on him, obviously, because Penny's going to be out. So I mean, he'll be at worst a handcuff, right, to Chris Carson. So
yeah,
he's draftable for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. I can't find it. I know I heard it. I'll say it on the next podcast if I'm able to find it or if I'm able to find an update on it. I mean, there's still. I don't think any of us think Chris Carson was going to repeat what he did last year, especially knowing with the hip injury. You know, I think it's going to take his efficiency away a little bit. He was somewhat similar to in the passing game because I watched him a lot to Leonard Fournette, where it's like they caught the ball, but it was just like when I watched him, I was like, please don't use someone else in passing downs. Like literally every time him or Leonard Fournette would catch it, I'd be like, dude, they're gonna put someone else in there, and then they'd still get the balls next week. But Carlos Hyde, I don't really think is a threat to that passing down work because he's probably worse. If anything, it's going to be Pro Size. I think he's still there, right?
Yeah,
we might see some uptick, or the rookie DJ Dallas. It's kind of just this backfield's going to be hard to rank and judge until we get closer to season and we actually know what's going on.
For sure.
But I mean, you got to figure they did run the ball around 400 times last year without Russell Wilson. What percentage of the carries does Chris Carson get? I'm kind of lowering him into the 225, 250 range, with Hyde getting maybe 75 to 100, or a mix of Hyde and Penny or DJ. So I'm lowering his rushing attempts down into the low 200s. And then the passing work, I'm lowering that as well, too. So I got to do some more stats and numbers with him and look at potential, losing the job as well to just due to injuries and fumbles and non-efficiency. So it's hard for me to get a full ranking on him, but it does hurt him a little bit. I don't think it's a major hit, but it does give him a little bit of a hit.
For sure. I mean, Chris Carson finished RB11 last year. Let me just ask you this. So it's like they bring in Carlos Hyde. Like you're saying, Rashad Penny might not be healthy, so they're kind of making a depth move, which I kind of agree with there. But, I mean, would you say who's a better running back, Carlos Hyde or Rashad Penny? Or would you just kind of like put them in the same tier?
I don't know if we've seen enough of a healthy Rashad Penny. Like when you've seen him healthy, I would say Rashad Penny, but it's been in like
flashes.
Like flashes.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Rashad Penny for like consistent 8 games at a time, going out and getting a decent workload. I would say Rashad Penny is better just due to youth and explosion, but we also don't know what the latest injury has done to him. We haven't seen him on the field again, so
yeah. And
we don't know if there's going to be preseason to this point. So it's really murky.
For sure.
Yeah, it's strange.
Well, the point I was trying to get to right there is even, if you're saying Rashad Penny's a little bit better than Carlos Hyde, I think Rashad Penny only saw 65 total carries. You think that guy would see a lot more carries for being, a former first-round pick?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's official to call him a bust, but, I mean, it looks like it. But, I mean, Chris Carson finished with a lot of carries, a lot of touches last year. 315 total touches was 6th most in the NFL. Only 9 running backs in the entire league had 300 or more touches. And his 278 carries was 6th most in the NFL as well. I mean, I'm not saying I think RB11, maybe that was his ceiling last year. But do you think he could just be a consistent RB2 for you? I mean, let's say even if he falls down to, You know, like you said, 278 carries last year. If he falls down to like that 240 range, but I mean, you know, like you're saying, kind of who's going to be more of the pass catching running back out of like Hyde or him? I mean, he still saw, what is it, 47 targets, 37 receptions, you know, 266 yards through the air. So that's just extra cherry on the top right there for those 1,230 rushing yards. I mean, it's like basically what I'm trying to say is, like, how comfortable do you feel Chris Carson as like a running back? Running back 2, his ADP right now is the 302, the number 26 overall.
Ooh, that's. I mean, I feel actually the way running backs are going now, I would say that's high, but I mean, he's like your prototypical 2. Like, he's like you can like set it and forget it RB2. So I mean, yeah, he's one of those guys. He had a couple games where they would feed the rock to him too. If they're winning, they have no problem like handing the ball off. So
Yeah.
the only thing with him is he had what I want to say like 5-6 fumbles last year. 5.
That's the
He
thing.
lost.
Yeah,
He lost.
That
3.
could be a fluky stat. He's never had an issue with that through
Yeah.
college and the year before. So
Yeah, that was a little weird. But the thing that worries me is that just a fractured hip. You know, for those of you who like watch how he runs, he's a pretty physical guy. So he doesn't shy away from contact, to say the least. So
Yeah, he's like a bruiser.
he's like an AP where he's just like, get the fuck off me, get down.
for sure. So I want to see how that hit. I mean, I obviously have never been in the NFL, but that's got to be, you know, having someone go full speed right into that hip again. I mean, being a running back, I mean, it takes a toll on you. So I'm curious, but Carlos Hyde is good for that. So, but yeah, he's a good RB2 if he's healthy though, 100%. Even with the if you kind of cut his touches, if you kind of cut him off a little bit with Hyde.
Yeah, and you did point out Rashad Penny had 65 carries, but that's skewed because he only played in 10 games last year. So you pace that out to 16, it's going to be closer to 100.
Yeah.
You still have him in the mix. You still have, I think, DJ Dallas is going to still get in the field to some extent, or Procise is going to get in there. And they did sign Hyde. He's going to see his carries. So I'm having a hard time putting him over 250 carries. Like, and he went 270-something last year. I see him as closer to 200, 225. Especially if that hip lacks explosion. I kind of actually see the Seahawks being more pass heavy than they have in the past.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of bigger on like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and the receiving options. You know, I think Greg Olsen has some, you know, touchdown potential there. So I'm he's kind of a lower end RB2 to me. And I think there's guys who have more upside that I'll be going after. Because like you said, I think last year was more than likely his ceiling.
His ceiling.
I put it at a 5% chance of him getting even within like a couple points of what he did last year.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's, you know, we're Dolphins fans, but we saw Albert Wilson his first year at Miami.
Yeah.
Looked really good. Explosive, quick, shifty guy. You know, he kind of, you know, guy, playmaker. But, you know, he had the hip injury. He came back last year. He just wasn't the same. And even he came out saying, like, he wasn't full, like, speed 100% until, like, towards the tail end of the season. So we could see that with Chris Carson. Maybe he's not 100% coming into the year. But
Yeah, it's fine. Last year I had Chris Carson and Fournette ranked at like 10 and 11, which is really high. Like there wasn't a lot of people who ranked him that high, and now I'm like, I don't want any pieces of either of those guys. It's just funny how it changes year to year. It's like I literally took him in every draft at the turn. Like I went back to back or took one of them at least. And this year I'm like, dude, I don't want to touch either of them.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Just
one
like
of those
how
guys that
fantasy
kills me.
football changes.
Yeah, no, I've never had him, but
And I'm an emotionless human being when it comes to fantasy football.
I'm done with him. No, yeah, and Penny,
Alright,
they're
let's-
saying he'll be out with like 6 weeks if you're not on the pup, or if you start on the pup, you have to miss the first 5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
he's already not expected as of May 7th not to play week 1 against the Falcons. So
So there you go. I mean, that's shit. They might pick up one more, but who knows by then? But yeah, those two guys will be.
yeah, well they wanted Freeman, but he wants more money.
Yeah, he said he's willing to sit out the whole season if he has to.
Yeah.
NFL teams are like, yeah,
It's
we're
actually-
willing to watch you sit out the whole season.
Good
It's
luck,
actually something we should put in here in this list of things, but
Devontae Freeman.
yeah,
I mean, we could
we can
discuss
touch
it.
on we can
we'll
touch
just-
on it on the end.
Okay.
Yeah,
On the back end.
yeah, just because I
You
have
know
these
that.
all in order and you know whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so next we got. I know it's not crazy fantasy news because he plays defense, but Jadeveon Clowney reportedly turned down a big offer, was what was said by Pro Football Talk, I think it was on Twitter, to join the Browns, be right next to Myles Garrett. Would have been kind of a scary situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Supposedly, he completely turned down a big contract, multi-year, supposedly. Yeah.
I don't know. The Browns had that much bread to
Yeah.
just throw around like that.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of fucked himself,
For sure.
Pardon my language, but like, cause he wanted X amount of dollars, like I think it was like $20 million or something like
Yeah.
that, and I think the Seahawks were gonna pay him like 15, 16 million or something like that, somewhere in that range. But now it's like he turned it down. You know, he's obviously shopping offers from other teams, but now it's like the Seahawks will only offer him like 12 million now or something like that. So he's cost himself like a bunch of money by holding out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the year he had wasn't like great either. He wasn't like extremely productive for a contract year either. Obviously, otherwise the Seahawks would have paid him.
I thought this was like interesting. If it is true that if he just didn't want to be on the Browns, or if he the big offer wasn't the big offer he was looking for, I'm just like, yeah, it's like interesting. And if it is I don't want to play on the Browns, maybe he's seen big guys, big name players like Odell go there and not really have the success he wanted there. Maybe.
I mean, you're always like, dude, the Browns are the Browns until otherwise. So
Right.
Yeah.
Until they prove anybody else wrong. Yeah. I'm 100%.
Sorry, Browns fans.
I'm 100% with
I feel
you.
bad for we're Dolphins fans, so I trust me. We've been at the bottom for a while. So I
I'm
feel
just
your pain.
wondering how much
Yeah,
money
but-
he thinks he should be making.
I think he wants to be the highest paid defensive player. That's usually how it is. You ladder the next guy or the last
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. I'm
But
saying
they're
it-
probably thinking like you're not better than Aaron Donald, so we're not
Yeah.
paying you
Hell no.
Aaron Donald money.
What's like? I mean, he saw what DeForest Buckner just got paid. I mean, DeForest Buckner's been pretty damn good the last couple of years. So, I wonder what his agent's saying. Like, all right, look, you're not going to get what you're wanting. So maybe like, temper your expectations. But it doesn't. Sounds like he doesn't give a damn.
Could be the guaranteed money, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times with these
contract
contracts, yeah, it could be like, a 4-year, $80 million contract, but is it $30 million guaranteed or is it $50 million guaranteed?
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, he's too good to not have a home. So once all this stuff opens up, you'd imagine. I mean, somebody's gonna just throw something. I think he's getting to a point where he might just get like a 2-year deal or like a 1-year deal.
he's on the franchise tag right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, most likely, I think he probably just ends up in Seattle one more year on the franchise tag, and then next year he can test the market again.
He's got to play himself into a contract. So
Yeah. Not completely fantasy related, but had to throw it in
It's just
there.
football, really. It's still football.
well, the Browns, they could have, just in case their other DN hits a Steelers quarterback in the head, they have a backup this time.
We're watching one of Nick Chubb's 17 goal line attempts.
Seriously.
Okay. All right. And then the next one, this is actually big news kind of for the entire NFL.
time,
There's a
big
new rule might take over onside kicks. It would be a 4th and 15 instead of onside kicks. It would only be twice a game because Pat Mahomes tweeted out, "Ooh, 4th and 15, I could do that." Because I think that they realized the Chiefs could literally just continue. They could just do this and not give the defense a ball. So it would only be twice a game. You could do it, and then you could still do an onside kick if you wanted. But
Imagine the team that's like, I don't think we can get 4th and 15, but I like my chances.
yeah,
with
so
the
it's
onside
basically
kick.
yeah.
Well, what happens too? So you get the play. If you get it, you get to continue driving. You start at your own 25. Your
Yeah.
own 25. So you're backed up against your own goal line.
Right.
So like if you get the first down, you get to continue going. If you get stopped, the team gets the ball right there. So like if they
Wherever
sack
it
you,
They get on
Nice.
the 25-yard line.
Well, no, wherever
Wherever-
the ball dies at.
yeah. So if
basically.
it's incomplete, then it'd be the 25-yard line.
Yeah.
But, right.
But penalties still apply. So it's like if it's offensive holding, they go back 10 yards more. If it's defensive holding or pass interference, the first down counts.
I think this would this would make the game so much more interesting.
For sure. Especially now because,
What do you think?
I kind of don't like it.
I think it's one of those things where if they go through, oh, here we go. I have
Let it
this
work for
onside kick
the Dolphins.
compilation. But yeah, no, I think that what are we doing here?
We're shopping for mask.
I know, dude. That ad keeps popping up. I gotta get like ad blockers. I can't. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Onside kick.
You're talking about making it
success
fun.
rate.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it's like such a big rule change though that it would like completely change the game big time. They put in like new rules all the time with like pass interference, challenging, that kind of thing, stuff like that. It changes the game a little bit, but I feel like this would really, really change the game if you.
They got
switch
rid of
it
the
up.
pass interference rule already, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
said it was
I think
a
so.
terrible move.
Well, because it was a
Well-
1-year trial, basically, like, hey, we're going to try it out for a year, see if we like it. And then they
I
were
think
like,
that maybe they didn't call some of those calls because they're like, okay, like we can't have this work, so we need to like just
That's what- that
fuck
was
up
what-
some of the calls,
I read
so
an
that way
article-
we can just get rid of it, like one and done.
Yeah, because there was a few
Like, you
blatant
tank it,
ones.
Well, it just like it's not. It's one of those things where it's like
The Kyle Rudolph one in this, my bad, Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was gonna say the Kyle Rudolph one in this against the Saints was pretty bad though, in the playoffs too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but the thing is I don't think it happens enough where you need to, because you saw more people just like using the challenge instead of like it just slowed down the game more, and it didn't really like help. as much. It was like, if anything, it just hurt by slowing down the game.
Yeah, it was probably like 95% of the time it was like, okay, this is stupid. Versus like maybe 5 was like, oh, okay, that was actually maybe, I don't even know if it was 5%. I feel like it was less.
When it's so subjective, if like the coach is like, no, he did touch him first, and the ref's like, I don't think so. It's like,
Yeah,
it's so,
right. It is
you know,
so subjective. Right, that's a good way to say it. Yeah, it is super subjective. But
I mean, I don't know. I don't like it. I think they should just keep the onside kicks. It's part of the game. It's like they'd be like the same as them. Like, I don't know. The XFL is trying to think out where like they kick the ball off and all the guys are at like the 20, and then like you can't move until the returner catches the ball. Like I get it. They're trying to be more safe, but I just feel like that kind of like it's like just an element of like football. Like
for sure.
it's
part of the game.
You know, it's like the ball doesn't lie in a sense. Like which way's the ball going to fall? You know, you always got to get that little bounce. You know, on the onside kicks. Obviously, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? But
sure.
that's
well, I think it's
not
harder.
supposed to be easy.
I think it's just harder in general. It's like
They just want to eliminate
These
that
days.
10, like that 10 to 15, like, you know, those guys are all standing right there waiting for the ball to come while the other, like, defensive players or whatever, they're, like, rushing at them full speed to blast them to get the ball. And, like, they're
Yeah.
trying to get rid of concussions.
You're like taught to be like a human missile
Right.
in this
yeah.
place.
Like,
all
go
right, you're
out,
gonna
your
go-
job on this play is to go out and blast this guy while the guy behind you runs and he's actually trying to get the ball. He's not trying to hit anybody, you know? They're just trying to get rid of, like, concussion scenarios.
right.
Yeah, because was it like 4 or 5 years ago where they moved it up to the 25 if you took the touchback, right? To kind of try to help.
Yeah, like incentivize teams
I mean,
to take the touchback.
But besides Young Ho Koo, who else do you know in the past like year who really did onside kicks?
Bengals got 3 against us. Miami got 1. There's a lot of teams that actually got them.
Yeah, that sounds like
It's not as
teams-
you know, like you don't
desperate
watch
teams.
necessarily the games, you forget them, but they do happen.
It's also an element of surprise. Like, I mean, like in the Super Bowl,
yeah.
with Sean Payton and the Saints, it's like if they would have came out and been like, all right, we're going to do an onside kick right now, like they wouldn't have done that, you know? They're not going to do that, but it's
I
like,
was watching that.
so.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
remember that Seahawks Packers game where they off of Bostic, like that one too. That was a crazy bounce and it went right off his hands, like right off his face. So I mean, when it worked, I mean, it is like you said, it's few and far between when you get those crazy recoveries in big games. But like you said, it's football and it is crazy. So I mean, to keep it traditional, I mean,
Yeah.
What? I was just curious, is like what do you guys think like fantasy implications?
That's
of-
what I was, yeah. What if it does? Let's just say it does pass. I'll start. I feel like those points shouldn't count for football, like the fantasy points. Like if they go out and they're on this 4th and 15, and like they throw like a, I don't know, let's just say
like a
I'm gonna
75-yard
use
touchdown?
I'm gonna use Tyreek Hill. Let's just say Tyreek Hill
course.
catches a 75-yard touchdown. I'm kind of like against those points counting, but I don't know. How would you guys feel for fantasy implication? I think those stats. It's because you're going for like a conversion, so it's like. I don't
games
know.
are just gonna be
Well, I mean,
insane.
I'm
It's not even
curious
like-
how that is going to count.
And it's not even like a 2 point where it's like, yeah, they're going to score. So you're going to get the ball back. So I feel like it's a completely different situation for fantasy. I would almost say just exclude it. Like
It's
that'd be
almost
my
tricky
view on
though.
it.
So it's like, okay, like say if they throw like a 20, like say if like Tyreek Hill runs a post route and he catches it, 25 yards down the field. Like, is it just like, okay, you caught it 25 yards down the field, like just stop because you already converted it? Like the defender can't even touch him? Or is it like, okay, he runs to the touchdown? I mean, like, what is
I don't
that
know.
aspect of it?
I don't know
on
if you
that
can,
part.
I don't know if you can score on
I mean, you would
that play.
think you could.
they
I
just-
don't think they're going to pass this rule.
Yeah, I feel like it's a long shot. But if
That's
they did,
crazy.
like I said, I would be against like those points for fantasy. I
Yeah, I
think
don't- yeah.
you can like lose and whatever, or even like because you have the opposite side. What if the defense intercepts and returns it for a touchdown? It's like that's really you're getting 6 points for a defense interception. 8 points. It can just dictate too much of a game. I think.
It's gonna it would change so much.
How pissed would you be if like I got this in the lock? They're going for it on 4th and 15. The guy throws a pick 6 and you lose because other team's defense scores 8 points. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean,
And that'll
that'd
happen
be
if
a
that
bad
happens.
way.
Falls out for
That's-
sure is going to happen.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, I lost because,
Or vice versa.
Or no, yeah, really, like you said, like say you're really winning by a shit ton of points and they get it back and then, then they come back from a fourth and 15 conversion. Like they get the ball back again. Like say you're facing the QB.
Yeah.
You just
Or he throws a touchdown right there.
Yeah.
What's double points?
I'm saying, dude,
What
that's
if it's Mahomes and Tyreek and he's like launched at like 17 points?
yeah, for sure. The Chiefs are like, I, hope they do
I feel like
this.
you can't count that if it passes. I mean, I think that'd be a discussion with your league because you probably can do that in league settings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
a vote.
That's what that is what happened. They didn't have the twice a game rule, and then literally Pat Mahomes tweeted something about with like a fourth about the retweeted with the 4th and 15 rule, and then
he's
they were
petting
like,
his cat.
you can only do it twice.
Yeah, it's true because they would try it every time.
Right.
Yeah.
The Chiefs would be insane. I'd be like, and if you could get those points, I'd be like, I'll take McCole Hardman. I'll take any fucking receiver on that team.
Or even the Ravens because Lamar Jackson they can just run like a vertical and have him just run around and get 15 yards.
Actually, speaking of rules, like I think it's like on topic somewhat. It is on topic. Like we always like because we were in a league, us three been in a league for years. Like whenever we're kind of like bringing up a rule change, like we kind of bring it up like about a month in advance to the draft or so. I think it's kind of good. Like if you're in a league and there's some rules you don't like, or let's just say there's like three of you, you know, and you guys are like, hey, I kind of hate the scoring format with quarterbacks. Could we change that? Bring it up a month in advance and do like a vote at your drafts and see how that rule changes goes. Or you could do it like a week in advance so you know the rules have changed.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's kind of something we do. Like we've been trying to get kickers. Did we get rid of kickers last year?
Yeah.
Finally.
Kickers
Finally
and
got rid of
double
kickers.
flex.
Yeah, double flex.
Finally, took a couple years, but
Yeah, but we had to vote on it for like 3 years to finally get rid of it. So it's like, all right, we knew no more kickers and double flex. So like, if you guys are doing league changes or want to bring up like rule changes, you know, bring it up about a month or so in advance and then vote on it either at the draft or a couple of weeks before, so you can implicate those to fantasy football. Rules,
Yeah.
they're science.
It is science.
be a democracy. Vote.
Okay.
You got to mail it in though, because you can't be around 6 feet.
That's true. Send it.
So the next one is Nick Chubb was asked by Matthew. I know this is like a week old, but Matthew Berry asked Nick Chubb who he would draft, or I can't remember exactly how the conversation went, but he said he would take Jarvis Landry over Odell Beckham Jr. What do you guys think?
The conversation
in
was
fantasy.
like-
It was about fantasy. So
I was kind of like, that interview was like annoying me, but I was like, but anyways, but he was like asking, he's like, all right, so he's talking about fantasy football, Matthew Berry to Nick Chubb, and he's like, all right, like if you had to take Jarvis Landry or OBJ, who would you take? He's like, man, Landry be catching like all those plays every. I don't sound like Nick Chubb at all, but trying to like Landry.
yeah, it sounded a little racist.
No, that wasn't racist. I was trying to do my Nick Chubb impersonation.
Is that what
You're
he
the one
sounded
who
like?
thought it was racist.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyways, he was like, yeah, he's like Landry be catching the balls, doing his thing, and then OBJ, you know, he'd be making those big plays, but like Jarvis Landry more consistent. So Barry was like, well, would you want the consistent guy or like the big play guy? And he's like, I want the consistent guy. That's
Yeah.
basically what happened.
Yeah.
A little bit
But,
more
I
like
mean,
more Chubb-like, but yeah, that's kind of what happened.
But I mean, he's not. I mean, he's not wrong. I went and looked at some stats on it, and like, I mean, Jarvis Landry had more receptions, he had more yards, more touchdowns. It's just he's like more. He's I don't know. Like he said, he's more consistent, and I don't hate Odell though. I feel like a lot of people are still hating on Odell, but I mean, we did that mock draft, and what round did he go in?
The 6th round.
I was like,
Which is in
6'6".
yeah, I mean, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's like I'll take Odell in that. You know, he still had over 1,000 yards last year, 74 receptions.
Yeah, I mean, if you still know a guy, let's not even take the name. Let's just say, hey, you're gonna get a guy who's gonna get, you know, over 100 targets. He's gonna get you roughly 1,000 yards, and he has, you know, 8 to 10 touchdown upside. I mean, the 5th, 6th round, you're like, okay, that sounds like a solid player. Like I said, not saying the name.
Yeah.
So like I said, if you're getting him in like the 5th, 6th rounds of actual drafts, which I don't know if that'll happen because the casual fan's gonna still think OBJ. I don't know. He's probably burned a lot of people at this point, so maybe not.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're getting 5th, 6th round, then I'm not mad at that because he does have more upside than Landry for sure. That's kind of not even a question with the upside.
It's crazy. I was looking at their ADPs on Fantasy Football Calculator. Odell is at the 601, so he's the 64th overall player, and Landry's at the 511. He's the 61st overall best player. I think in a lot of drafts you're still going to see Odell go ahead of Landry, and I'll be more than happy to take
Jarvis.
Jarvis Landry. Yeah. Did I say that wrong? I
no,
think
you're
Odell
100%.
will go first. Oh my bad.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Odell will go
For
first,
sure.
and then I'll be more than happy to take Landry. You know, as the second Browns receiver. You know, a round later or even a couple picks later. I think if it comes between those two, I'm still going to take Landry, just because I mean, like I said, it comes down to Baker. Like I mean, I am on pretty high on Baker, but is he like going to push the ball to Odell? I don't think so. I think those days of Odell seeing, you know, 150 targets, I think those days, you know, with the Giants are long gone, especially with all the weapons that this team has. You know, maybe Landry just works better with Baker just because he's, you know, in that slot. You know,
his
he's
route
a
tree.
predominantly slot, yeah, where Odell's the out guy. And I think they really try to force the ball to Odell so much, and maybe they might like limit that. Like, hey, we can't be trying to, I get it, he's a diva, but like you can't be forcing the ball so much to him. Just some crazy numbers on Landry right here. Obviously, I like Landry. I know Anthony does too because we're Dolphins fans. But 80 plus receptions, 80 plus receptions in all 6 of his seasons. And minus his rookie season, he's had 975 or more receiving yards in 5 straight years. So I'll just take the consistency. I'm like Nick Chubb. I'll take the consistency of 975 plus receiving yards with 80 plus receptions. And then, Landry's never been a big touchdown guy, but he usually gets you about 6. I'll take that all day.
Yeah,
For sure.
That's what he had last
And
year.
anything over that, you're running to the bank with, because he's, especially in PPR. In PPR, he's a machine. If you're in standard, you can probably take OBJ. Maybe you can make a better case, but in PPR formats, Jarvis. I mean,
Yeah, it's true. Standard, it's different because you're just total yardage. Those receptions
Yeah.
don't count, so it's more total yardage and touchdown. I mean, I'm that's where, like, if it actually comes down to the 6th round, like, I don't think it's going to be that OBJ going in the 6th and win.
No,
draft.
no way.
But
Someone's gonna take him in
He
the
has
third or
the
fourth.
name
Yeah.
value.
Here's the thing.
100%.
But if it
100%.
does, I will take. If it's that late, I will take OBJ over Landry due to the upside, because I already have probably 2 receivers at that point. So it's like,
it's not a
why-
detriment to your
yeah,
team.
well, it's not like he's going to be my starter at that point. Why not take a upside?
Swinging for the fences.
Yeah, because you could literally make everyone kind of just be like, "Suck it, I had a good ass year," and they, Baker clicks and whatnot. So, but like I said, Landry's upside is not the same. So that late in the draft, I'll go OBJ, but I don't think that's going to be realistic when we come time to like draft season. Like if I have to choose for him in the 4th round, which I think is more realistic, I'm not grabbing him there. I'll take Landry in the 6th, 2 rounds later.
Yeah. As a football player, though, I OBJ's a better football player, but that's not always what it comes down to. I mean,
I don't know. Don't disrespect Landry like that.
no, I'm not. I mean, I just think OBJ he's still talented. He's only 27.
I mean, I've seen
shitting.
Landry do some crazy stuff, and his ability to like juke people and make people miss in the open
yeah.
field is impressive. And one thing with Landry, I could just say is, I mean, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx my boy here,
You thought it.
but all 6 seasons he's played a full 16 games. And OBJ's kind of been
Not.
4 of this 6 seasons he hasn't played a full season.
And T, what's the best ability?
Availability.
I will say
Yeah.
something to both of them. I'm actually a little bit worried about their target upside just in general. They're about 135 targets last year. Baker Mayfield, they'll kind of get into some Baker Mayfield numbers right here a little bit. 534 pass attempts last year, which was still 10th highest. I think they're going to be more run heavy. I mean, you look at Stefanski's offense as a coordinator last year, 2nd in rushing, like 29th in passing.
Yeah.
They upgraded that offensive line. I think this is going to be more of a run heavy pass second offense, and I think if that number drops from 534, this is where I have a little bit of concern with both these guys.
Yeah.
If that number goes from 534 down to 497 or like low 5s, you add Austin Hooper's targets into that mix, it's a little scary that one of them could go under 100 or right around 100, or both of them might be in the 110 range, where it's like I said, I'm kind of a little, like, I'm trying to dig into these numbers with them, but like I said, their target upside to me is kind of capped this year, both of them. It's a little worrisome. I mean, it's in Baker's numbers with the interceptions and all that. It's just, I'm kind of getting a little scared off of both of them, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it is the offense too. I mean, looking at just the QBs for Stefanski, I mean, Kirk Cousins is the one who's thrown the most touchdowns under his offense, and that's 30. So I mean, it's not, and that's the most. Case Keenum had 21 with him, so they're not exact. Like you said, they're not going to be. He's not going to be throwing for 35 touchdowns. They're going to be more, play action. His Q might have like a higher QB rating, higher completion percentage. But yeah, I don't think he's going to pass it 500 and like
34. It was 10th highest. That's what I'm getting at. It's like,
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, I think that with them running like double tied and like 2 running backs, they're just all, like you said, there's so many weapons that they're going to be, it's going to help the team as a whole from a football standpoint to spread the ball around. We're not speaking fantasy. We're saying like football wise, because I mean, they got Hooper, they got Njoku, they got these 2 guys with Chubb and Hunt. So I mean, they have a lot of mouths to feed. So
yeah, I mean, if let's just say he throws the same, you want to add the tight end position only had 69 targets last year in Cleveland. So now either you have to basically demolish Austin Hooper and make him tight end 27.
and
or
they just
you,
paid him, so they
yeah,
won't.
or you have to account for some of these targets going over towards away from the receivers to the tight end position with the healthy Njoku and Hooper. So, like I said, I'm kind of a little bit worried about Landry and Odell. It might be a really inconsistent week to week one of them, or that target volume. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be as high as it was last year.
Who do you think finishes half point PPR better
I mean, I'll bet Landry.
receiver? I mean, Landry finished as wide receiver 13 last year. Odell was wide receiver 26.
I don't really have to worry about Landry getting hurt either. So
I mean, I think
right.
you're a little bit crazy if you go Odell on that one, just based off like this past year. And
Well, I'm trying to, like fresh, like got a new O-line, new offensive coordinator. So I'm trying to throw in all the factors and try to assume maybe that was OBJ's worst year. Man, that's fuck. That is close though. I feel like I might ride OBJ, but
yeah,
close. And then if he doesn't
That
do it,
was
then
one
I'm
of your
done
man
with it.
crushes though. So you gotta go Odell.
Well, no, I mean, I told you I went, well, in the rankings too, I had him at 12, and then his face was pissing me off. So,
dude,
yeah,
if
you're
you
right.
told me, if you told me,
You're right.
if you told me 4 years ago, hey, would you be down to take OBJ in the sixth, let's just say in the 5th round?
Because
I'd been like, oh hell yeah. Okay, so but then my next question would be like, why did something happen? And you'd be like, oh well, he plays for the Browns, and then I'd be like, oh.
and then
And then it'd be like, well, is he like injured? And it's like, no, it's just like
my bad.
Jarvis Landry's there.
No,
You know?
he's not new to this. He's true to this. So
No, I get it. Yeah, Odell in the 6th would be crazy. I think when we get closer to draft season, I feel like these ADPs are a little skewed.
The only
sure.
people who are doing mock drafts right now, which is naturally making these ADPs, is people like us
the lifers.
who are talking about Jarvis Landry and OBJ
people who watch us.
in May or April. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, almost everybody's pissed off at Odell. So
Yeah, because like I actually like we all use the fantasy calculator or whatever some type. Whenever it gets to like August, I always adjust it to like a 1 week, like because you can go to like 1 week, 1 day, one
yeah,
month.
yeah.
I always adjust it to like a 1 week to see how that changes because you get the casual fan who, like I said, we'll talk about how like we have Tom Brady at like 10, but in real drafts he's probably gonna go. Some people are taking 4th or 3rd or something like that because it's Tom Brady. So yeah, that'll adjust. We have people taking Lamar Jackson number 1 overall. That's gonna happen in some leagues.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and people
Maybe
in
not
different
one,
league
two.
like formats like this. We're in a keeper league, so OBJ's for sure not going in the 6th round due to the fact that we're all going to keep a player and then start our draft. So
Dre,
yeah, I don't know.
do you need to throw Lawson?
I'm just gonna say those Jarvis Landry highlights made me moist.
No, he's
If
That's
you
my
wanna-
guy.
if you
That's
wanna
one of
be-
my favorite players.
If you want to
Yeah.
be moist with Tyler, go check out our YouTube channel.
if you
can
didn't
watch
know,
live
he
sh-
likes Jarvis.
Jarvis.
All right. Let's get into the next one. We got Antonio Brown back in the news. Not because he did something silly. It's actually because Russell Wilson said, hey, guys, I want him on my team.
But did he say it in his Nick Chubb voice?
No, he said it just like that. He said,
I was laughing all the way downstairs.
Right after like I said,
he said,
just
hey,
like the joke.
coach, can we get a Antonio Brown here? Yeah,
Is Russell
so
Wilson country?
That's not at all how Russell Wilson talks.
So Russell Wilson is trying to make the push for him.
yeah.
How do you feel for Tyler Lockett or Metcalf? Like they're like, what are we, chop liver? Like,
If that happens.
yeah.
Well, what? Because
No, he's just saying.
No,
He's
I
just
think
like-
Russell Wilson just wants. I mean, why would you not
wouldn't?
want a Pro Bowl caliber? I mean, we assume he's still at least above average.
Yeah,
You
don't
go-
don't
he's
just
still in
people-
shape. Apparently,
Yeah.
according to anyone who's talked to him or been around him, he's still in great shape. He fired his manager, so he doesn't.
As he should.
He fired his manager. His manager actually said that I won't work for Antonio Brown until he's in a better mental state. So there's that.
And then that's what
But
Antonio
he
Brown
hasn't.
said.
Antonio Brown hasn't been in the news in quite a while. It seemed like every week last year he was in the fucking news. It was like the entire 2019 was just Antonio Brown season. It seemed like. Yeah.
Well, what I was
If I
gonna
was-
say
go ahead.
while I'm watching this is just,
Yeah,
just
check out
don't,
these highlights
just
on
don't
YouTube.
forget how good. If
Yeah,
Antonio, Brown,
That's why you have to like almost watch these highlights because it's like he really was a freak. He's a
Bro.
freak of nature, man. The guy
Would he still
works
be
so
top
hard.
10 if he
Oh,
came back?
100%.
top 10,
100%.
Yeah.
Like
I think,
overall
I,
or
I
something?
think
He's
so. Yeah.
he's
Oh my
down.
God.
for
Just like
fantasy.
ability, talent wise.
Bro,
Dude,
he
I
was
think
he
so.
was like
Yeah,
number.
right.
He went from like he was just like Julio every year.
Well, I
one,
was just
one
that-
to three.
That's what I was gonna say. If he was still playing and didn't go ape shit crazy, you can take him in the first round on the back end, right? Like, dude was.
I would. Yeah,
in
I would.
Seattle, I don't know.
Oh, no, I'm saying if he was just still playing, obviously,
in Pittsburgh.
yeah, just talent wise, he's still like a first round. Like,
I would say. You,
I mean,
wait,
I'd say
yeah,
so.
like look at the guy's routes.
Bro, he's ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just think, like,
one-handed toe drag swag.
I just think like the same thing with AP. Remember, he was out, and then they're like, "Don't forget about AP," and then he came with 2,000. So it's like just he's really good. So
Yeah.
just like if he does come back, like people are gonna be talking about his whole helmet thing and his feet and him going to jail or whatever the hell the dumb shit he did.
And his mustache.
He kicked his girlfriend out of the house,
Lego
and then he
haircut.
married the same chick. Like
So there's
plus the Doodoo Browns.
he doesn't have anything like he doesn't have any charges on him actually. It's all allegations. So he doesn't actually have a suspension.
Allegedly.
No, but like he doesn't really have a suspension going on right now.
I mean, it would be an investigation, right? The minute he
Yeah,
signs,
they would have to. And so I think this is my opinion. Me and Anthony kind of talked on it a little bit. Is I think that he worked out with the Saints, and obviously nothing came out of it. But I think what happens is these teams like work him out, and then they realize they go and ask the NFL like, so what's the deal with this guy? Like, can we is he suspended? Whatever. And then they kind of tell him like, hey, dude, this guy's not gonna play. And then they're like, oh, never mind. That's what I think is happening, but I'm kind of
love your dialogue.
I'm
I was like, we're the best at
speculating.
dialogue.
I love the dialogue.
Yeah.
All of us come back.
I think his career's over. I don't think a team will ever take another chance on him. I mean,
Yeah.
especially for the amount of money he wants to get. I mean, you got to think these top tier receivers are getting paid 15+ million a year, and you know how ignorant he is. He wants to get all that money. So it's like, how can you give a guy like him 15 million, 30 million guaranteed for 2-3 years? And then, he could just lose his mind and all of a sudden he's gone. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like how the Raiders did. So I don't think a team will ever take a chance on him. If they did, he'd have to take a significant pay cut.
That's what I was going to
That's
ask.
where
Do you think
It
he's
would-
willing?
It would have to.
I don't think
I don't
so.
think it would happen this year or anytime soon. I think it would have to be like a year from now, maybe like 2 years from now, of him just being humbled, running out of money.
Yeah.
Hanging out with his kids, realizing what actually matters in life.
Yeah,
And
or it's
then-
going to be a really incentive based where it's like, okay, we'll give you up to 6 million or 8 million, but like if you got to play 16 games, you get in trouble, contracts violated, like all that type of stuff. So it's going
Yeah.
to be really structured.
Yeah, I mean, whoever, it's going to be like an bless you. It's going to be an airtight contract for sure. As far as he won't be able to do anything, but his
But it's
downfall
cool.
has been crazy.
I mean,
to
dude,
see his downfall.
You said it earlier about Jarvis Landry because you're a Dolphins fan, Tyler. I mean, but as a Steelers fan, when I watched all these highlights, it's like, dude, what did you do?
Like he is so
It's
good.
just like, man,
And it
he's
just
so
happened
good.
out
He get you like
nowhere.
1,600 plus yards like every year.
Yeah, it was
it's just like
insane.
guaranteed.
Remember that game? He had like 290 receiving yards, no touchdowns though.
Remember that year, Mike? This is kind of off topic, but I was in a league and this was my receivers were crazy. I drafted Julio Jones and I somehow finagled my way to get Antonio Brown. So I had Julio Jones and
I think
Antonio
I
Brown.
remember this.
And I go meet Mike at the bar and it's Thursday night and they're playing the Titans, I think
Oh,
it is. And I
yeah.
go, bro, I just traded for AB. It just went
Cody
through
wouldn't
this
shut
week.
up.
Bro, he had, what do you have, like 3 touchdowns, like 150
It was
yards, something like
nuts.
that? And
That
I
was
was
Oh,
like,
like,
that was in the playoffs.
That was
It
no.
was
was
no.
it fantasy playoffs?
No, no,
I thought it was
no.
fantasy playoffs.
Also.
Because
no,
he
it was a
killed for me that year.
It was a Thursday night. It
But I was
a-
so hyped because I was just like, I just got him, and he just
That was
3
the day-
touchdowns.
That was the day that
He's a
Big
beast,
Big
man.
Ben said "dilly dilly" when he was behind center. You remember he said that, and everybody was like freaking out. And then it was super foggy. They had like that. It was foggy during that Patriots game, so they had like the camera angle change where they went behind him. Remember?
Yeah, actually, speaking
oh
of
my
speaking
goodness.
of Big Ben, so it was official that it was Tommy John surgery on his
Okay.
elbow.
Tommy
Do we
Young.
need to talk to
Reading-
the medicine man?
Well, yeah, reading from like just baseball perspective, it's a 16 to 19 month recovery for that. So I know he's throwing the ball, but
I mean,
I'm saying we got to
to.
monitor that.
You don't think they're shoving some steroids in his
Oh, for
elbow?
sure.
Well,
and
they're shoving steroid. The pitchers got to want to get back too. They don't, but it's like
It's a little different, obviously. 'cause
I'm just
of
saying,
the
like
arm,
I've been
how
pointing this
hard.
out, and we do got to watch getting closer to season. Yeah, you can throw the ball, but I mean,
He did have the surgery really early in the season, but you're right. I mean, he did have it after week 1. So
yeah, it's not even. He won't even
if
be
you're
at the
saying
15-month window.
if you're saying 16 month, you said how long? 16 to 19?
I think it was like 16 to 19 or 15 to 19, something like that. Average is like 16, 17, but it can range in there. And some of these guys are younger guys too. Baseball is more of a max effort.
Well, it's because you're throwing it, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's
but-
a little bit more of a max effort on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
But so that's why I think he can get back sooner. But after like reading that and then hearing it, I actually heard it after I read it. It kind of makes me like wonder, like, is he going to be fully ready to go to start the season, or will he start slow?
Yeah.
If
I
anything,
think
or will they baby
he'll
him with
start
running
slow.
the ball more?
You won't be able to trust Ben either because obviously he wants to be out there playing. So even if he says he's 100%, it's like, how do you really know?
That's gonna
he's
be tough to
100%?
say.
And the hard thing too is Big Ben is the type of guy that even if he's not 100%, he's going to go out there
Yeah.
and play like he's 100%.
Oh,
so
Doodoo Brown.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
He got fined a bunch for
Flag?
The booty shake.
It's called
Yeah.
that Doo-Doo Brown. That's literally what it's called. That's why. That's why I named my team the Downtown Doo-Doo Browns because of that because of that
The
dance.
downtown
The
Doo-Doo
Brown.
Browns.
Well, here's my thing. I would take a 70% Big Ben over a Mason
Oh, yeah.
Rudolph or Doug Hodges. Period.
What about
So-
Cam Newton?
I still want to know that GM
Wait,
that said that.
wait, what did you just say?
So what about Cam Newton?
No. Before that, what did you say, Dre?
I said that I would take a 70% Big Ben over Mason Rudolph or Hodges.
Oh, well, yeah.
I gotta take like a 40.
Yeah, probably.
I misheard it. I thought you said
I would
you-
take a legless Big Ben out there.
Yeah. I would take
over-
him with one arm, the left one.
If he decided to play left-handed, I'd take him.
I'd take him. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, Antonio. If he were to go to the Seahawks, though,
I'm not mad at it. I think anywhere he goes, he'll be amazing.
Oh, Russell Wilson will shoot at my board if that happens.
Yeah.
I want to see Antonio Brown come back and play. Just
Good for the league. He's
Yeah.
entertaining.
yeah,
Dude,
and
he
and the
is.
thing is, he just fell off so quick that he
He was like everyone in Pittsburgh was like, "We love you," and then like literally a month later, they were all like, "Get out of town! Get out of here!" Like everybody hated him immediately.
As like a fan, do you hate him, or are you just like, dude, he did so much for me for like
He
10
did?
years. It's like,
Okay, so
I'm not gonna hate him. But
I am that way now but like I think I was kind of on the same boat when all this was going down. I was just kind of I was more just like, you know, when your parents, like when you do something bad when you're a kid,
Yeah.
and they're like, "We're not mad, I'm just disappointed." Like that's how I felt. Like I wasn't mad at him, but I sigh and I'm just upset. I just wish things were different.
I'm a glass case of emotion.
So I got a
That's how I
random
feel.
stat, and I just checked it just to make sure. But football related, Antonio Brown was the first player ever that Madden picked to be on the cover without a helmet, and I didn't really believe that. And then I went back to look at the games, and it was true. Like that's how much of I'm saying like a PA guy he was like for the NFL. I'm saying like the NFL liked him that much to like do that because I guess it was
Hashtag
like,
interesting stat.
I guess no, I'm looking at it. I guess it was like a really big deal for Madden.
Little did he know the helmet was going to be the end of his
Yeah,
career.
he's like, this is a helmet that I want on
Dude,
the
if
Raiders.
that's not foreshadowing, then I don't know what.
But yeah,
is.
I guess they made a big push, and it was like a thing. They're like, yeah, they usually want them with their helmets, but he was just standing there with his face just like smiling. So that was a big deal. I mean, and he got paid for that too, and then he lost his mind.
It just sucks, this whole coronavirus thing. I was kind of low-key hoping that he would go to the XFL. I mean, if I was the XFL, I would have tried to do
Oh
anything
my-
I could to get AB in the league because, like, you would just get viewers
God.
for AB alone.
I
And
would
then he
ju-
probably would have put up, like, 2,500 receiving yards and 30 touchdowns. But it's like, people would have tuned in to watch those games. You know what I'm saying?
Can you imagine him against like the
You just
DB?
tell AB, like, hey, you will be the XFL face. We're going to work everything around you.
He really would get like 2,500 yards.
It's like, yeah.
And their season's so much shorter too. I'm pretty sure.
We're gonna
wasn't
change it to the AB.
I was really hoping that would happen, but
They'd be like, Antonio, just do whatever you do with your feet and run straight. I'll throw it, and I know you'll be there. Like, bro.
It's the. I like. Did you hear Anthony? He said it's now the ABFL.
Bro.
He could start his own league.
Honestly, it would be fun to see him just sauce the shit out of all those DBs in the XFL. I would watch it. I would watch every time Antonio Brown played.
Like probably try and quadruple cover him. Like fuck it, pull a defensive lineman off, you compress him, and
Here,
then we'll
hand it
try.
off to this guy, right? Hand it off to this 12-year-old.
it would have been fun, right?
Yeah. Oh man, 100%. I'm surprised he didn't try to go to Canada or something either. But
I think he's got too much like pride. I mean, he really would. He would. It's not even like. Oh, what are you too good for this league? It's like, no, dude, he's literally too good for that league.
yeah, I mean, it is true.
Like he would just dominate, like you're saying. It would be 30 touchdowns, 2,500 yards.
It was
It
almost
would be
too good
insane.
for NFL DBs.
I mean,
was
he
kinda
was-
right.
he
He was
was-
too good.
he was he was killing. He's getting up there in age too, right? He's like 30, 31.
Yeah,
So he's
I
not
think so.
he's not getting any younger.
Yeah, I think we've seen that end of AB. It's unfortunate, but
It
that's
sucks.
what I think.
They're gonna have a documentary on him, and we'll be watching and be like, this guy used to do
30 for 30?
Yeah, something like that, where it was like, look how good this guy was from.
The Last Dance. It's doing the doo-doo Brown.
What else we got?
That's it on the news. But we did say earlier that we want to talk about Devontae Freeman.
Boom, boom.
So the official is Devontae Freeman got an offer. Was it an offer from somebody, or was he just said that he wasn't?
Seahawks offered.
No, they offered him $4 million, and he said he wants more than that. He said he's willing to sit out if he doesn't. So
So
that's literally what he told him. He's like, I'm not going to sign for $4 million.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of don't blame him. Especially with the way this year is going. I think I think if I'm Devontae Freeman, I'm like, okay, well, this league might not even happen this year just because of this coronavirus thing. I mean, obviously, I disagree. I don't think that's the case right now anymore. But I think for a while he was thinking that. So he's trying to hold out for a whole year. I kind of understand it though. You know what I mean? I get where he's coming from.
Do you think Devontae Freeman still has like the starter ability, or do you think he's more of like a running back by committee kind of guy, where like you have like that 1-2 punch?
I think he's more of a backup,
Yeah, I don't.
but he
think,
could be the 2 and the 1-2.
I think that it's like one of those tough things where running backs they just fall off so fast, and it's like unfortunate to say, but I think like you said, I don't think he can be a starter as much anymore.
And the numbers were pretty bad last year from efficiency.
You got to think the
Yeah, their
offensive
o-
line
yeah,
was,
was-
terrible. They lost their they drafted 2 linemen in the first round. I know
Yeah.
one of them was out the whole year, and another lineman was out the whole year. So, kind of, one thing I could say with him is I know he had a ton of targets
Dude, his
in the
catches,
receiving game.
He was actually still before he got hurt. He was wide receiver or running back 22. Oh, he was still like a low end 2 with terrible efficiency.
Yeah,
They
went
drafted
past-
him higher though. He was like the RB like 14, 15.
Yeah.
yeah, he was. Yeah,
So I mean, I'm curious to see because any running back that got the ball there was getting touched like immediately.
Yeah.
So not one running back did well with that offense. So I think it for sure was the line. So I mean, I'm not going to say that Devontae Freeman's got the old Devontae Freeman still in there, but I think he still could be productive. Like I'm surprised the Jags haven't tried to reach out to him too, with them trying to get rid of.
I think they've accepted that.
they're going to trade that they're going to trade
just like-
Fournette.
Well, I mean, I think that they're kind of stuck with Fournette because nobody
Nobody would trade for him.
nobody wants.
Trying to get a
could
second.
get
Nobody
more like
wants
the
him.
point of where we get close to the training camp and like maybe someone goes down and they're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
now we need to pay him. So what does he want? $5 million? Okay, like $6 million. Okay, like pay him because like there's
Yeah.
no one out there. The
sure.
draft's done. People
Yeah.
start getting hurt and shit like that.
I could definitely see that happening. That's what you're right during training camp and all that. Well, they're opening up like different facilities. Like every day I get Twitter notifications, so it's looking good for the year coming up. Like it seems like the year is going to start normal.
Yeah.
I know the baseball might not. They might hold out, but I know Anthony, you were talking about how some NFL players were thinking about
Well, they-
holding out.
No, not holding
Not
out.
holding out,
So
but-
they were just saying that like if the fans aren't there, like they don't think it's gonna happen if the fans aren't there.
Yeah.
I think it will be back.
I
to
think the
normal
fans
by
will be
then.
there.
I don't know. Every day you see more and more states are opening. Everything's opening. We're
Yeah.
going into phase 2. We live out in here in Vegas. We were one of the first people to close down just because these casinos see so many random like people from out of town, and we're about to open up. So yeah, I don't know. I think if the Wynn Casino can open up on the Las Vegas Strip, I think that a stadium can open up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
With that, we got anything else? Oh, what would you say, DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, I gotta tell y'all this because this is funny. So we're talking about D Hop, and everyone already knows how the trade was like the worst trade ever, and how everybody was like, oh, he didn't get along with the coach, which everybody knew. But I mean, I didn't know it was like this dude Bill O'Brien really is a dumbass person. So he goes to start a meeting with D Hop because he tells D Hop that he wanted to meet because he thought that D Hop had too much control over the locker room. So he's like, yo, let's meet, let's talk about it. And the very first thing he tells him when he sits down is, the last time I had a meeting like this was with Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, I heard. Wait, I heard about this a while ago. They it's not 100% that this exact thing happened.
Oh, no, I mean, I do. I have it right here.
Oh, okay. No, I mean I know because they talked about this a while back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They talked to D-Hop about it today, but he just like,
Oh, okay,
he was like
that's why
taking
I
the
came
high
back.
road. They're like, oh, so like what happened? And then he was just like, he's a competitive person. Like I'm a competitive person. And like, that's all he said. But Jalen and Jacoby like, man, like you're like this good. Like that's it. He's like, yeah, he just basically took the high road. I mean, he compared him to Aaron Hernandez. So,
Yeah, I
Nobody's Aaron Hernandez.
oh, and then he
There was
told
only
him
one Aaron
and then he
Hernandez.
told him obviously the baby mama thing. He said he doesn't like that his baby mamas come around the facility.
Mamas.
Baby mama. So I guess he has like 2 or 3 different baby mamas, but I guess they come to the facility. I'm like, At least it's not a piece. Why are you mad about that?
Yeah.
So I guess those two things, and like after that, he's like, I'm done. Like there's like nothing you can say.
I mean, unless they come to the race, take your damn kid.
Yeah,
You
take
ain't
your
seen
kids
this.
up out of here.
Yeah, I know, right?
So it's like I don't get how you can just do that to your best player, knowing he's like good friends with the quarterback. Like you just ruined a whole fucking organization. And why would you ever compare him to Aaron Hernandez?
Yeah.
Like that's just.
I don't get mad very often, but I think that would probably get in my skin.
Yeah.
You know, Bill.
Especially because he's
You
like,
know,
the,
but-
especially because he's like the quietest guy.
I'm
Dude,
about to Aaron Hernandez your ass.
Yeah,
right
I
now. Full rape, full murder.
Bow. No, so I just thought that was crazy that he would. And basically, what stemmed from that is they asked D Hop in the interview. This is Jalen and Jacoby. They asked him, "Do you think that Deshaun Watson will want to stay there, knowing what happened?" And he still took that. He's like, he's one of the best QBs. Like he's good. Like hopefully we meet in the Super Bowl type. Like. I think he mishandled it. You know they still talk because he's like, this is one of my best friends.
For sure.
So do you think Deshaun is going to resign or ask to leave, or
I mean,
knowing
think
how it
he's-
went down like that?
I think he's kind of the face of their franchise. I think Bill O'Brien will be gone for this year. If he's there in his contract year, it could be a different story, but I feel like he's going to be gone. I think the
Yeah, I
Texans
think
are going to
so.
have a
He's
losing
about to get
record.
paid too. I mean, you got to think the
Yeah.
Texans are going to offer him. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he's going to make 35, 40 million.
Do you think Deshaun's like, it's me or him? I don't want to play for him?
I mean, it could happen.
Possibly, yeah.
It could happen.
Because,
It's
I
not-
mean,
that happens.
I
all the
think that'll
time.
probably happen by the end of the year if they're not winning, or midway through the year if they're struggling. I mean, how do you guys feel about D Hop? Like, I know he just another thing about him. We'll just talk about it for a quick second. You know, he said he's going to have like his one of his better years, but I've actually been juggling my receiver rankings and I've moved him down. I just don't see the target volume going to where it was, and I mean, I'm struggling to put him above 135. Honestly,
yeah. I still have to stick to my 90 because of, I mean, that air raid offense. I'm still going to, I mean, his talent is just so damn good with Cliff Kingsbury that. And I still think they'll be behind. I think they'll be one of those like fun to watch teams.
Yeah.
So even when they're not winning, like their games are going to be exciting.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they'll
their
be putting
offense
up
is gonna be
points.
good.
So from a football standpoint, I think they'll be good. And then from fantasy, obviously, I think you'll want those players for the reason that
Yeah, I'm kind of speaking more to like just the rankings. Like I've kind of been moving him down a little bit based off of like uncertainty of like that high volume
Yeah.
targets.
So where is he at, like 8?
8 or 9. I think I might have moved him down to 10.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have a lot of DeAndre Hopkins on any of my leagues because he's probably going to go in the first, second round.
Yeah, the name.
And
He's
like,
going-
I don't think there's just some guys, like I said, for the target share and even like running backs. I think we did that mock draft 1.0, how we just kind of looked like, you know, once you get past like the first, second round of running backs, like the tier kind of really just fell off compared to like those middle round receivers were still pretty nice. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like you grab a couple
Juju
good
was
receivers
still
in
there.
the middle rounds. You know, we're just talking about Odell in the 6th round for, you know, so yeah, I do love DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's talented, but yeah, the draft price is probably going to be too much for me for the uncertainty. You know, you still got Larry Legend, Christian Kirk. You know, I know Mike, that was one of your guys.
Yeah.
You're pretty hyped on coming into this year.
Right.
Yeah, Kirk. Yeah, I mean, and it's a good thing in your leagues if he starts doing good, trade for him. I've actually never drafted him, but I ended up getting him in a trade. He's just consistent.
The only year I had DeAndre Hopkins is when I think like Tom Savage and Brock
Oh,
Osweiler was
no.
throwing. It was like his worst year. That's the only time I ever had.
I had him one of his down
Hopkins.
years too. I was like, yeah.
It's just like, yeah, that's when he had like that Ramsey dude throwing him the ball, or that dude from North Carolina. Who was that? Remember he started? Oh, Yates. Remember?
Yeats.
Remember they went-
yeah, from North Carolina,
Yeah.
right?
Remember? I was like, who the hell is this guy?
D-Hop be one of those guys that, you know, he'll probably be underperforming, you would think, at some point. So like you might be able to buy low on him.
Yeah,
you
that's-
know,
yeah,
and
for
like
sure.
here's a guy where like let's say you get like a Devontae Adams or Julio Jones, you know, in the first or second round, and then like now you can get DeAndre Hopkins, you know, and you trade for him on the low. And now he's like your 2, so you're like, okay, like he'll have those boom games where he puts up, you know, wide receiver 1 numbers, but like he'll be a consistent wide receiver 2 for you. Like I think that's a scenario.
Yeah.
that could
Or it
happen.
could be vice versa, where it's like this is where like in season, like we're able to look at these numbers too, where it's like, you know, maybe he scores in his first 4 games, but we're seeing that the ball's being spread out, you know, pretty evenly between Kirk, him, and Fitzgerald, and you still have Drake involved in that 4th receiver as a rotation of Isabella or
Isabella,
Johnson or whoever. And we're seeing that, and it's like he's getting 7 targets, you know, where he's normally like a 10 guy. It's like, hey, if he's going to stay at 7 targets, you might want to flip this guy. Or
Sell high.
Yeah, because you'll be able to flip him for like, you know, maybe another stud running back who's had a few bad weeks or something like that. So
Yeah, the name. Yeah, you can use a name to an advantage for sure too. Because I mean, he's still a beast. So yeah, there's always people that are gonna love D Hop. So I mean, that offense. I mean, if he can do it with these bum quarterbacks, Kyler Murray's no joke. So
Yeah.
I mean, neither is Deshaun Watson, but he hasn't been in an offense that's like this as far as just pass friendly. Like they're gonna want to. I feel like they're gonna want to shit on Bill O'Brien too a little bit. Like,
I mean, they play the Texans every game. Yeah.
oh man, just be like, this is what you gave up, you fucking dummy.
Yeah. Do they play the Texans?
I was looking at
I
that.
don't know, but if they do, that is gonna be.
That's a week where you know
Yeah,
he's probably gonna have his best game of the year.
You take him in any daily fantasy.
I feel like the NFL's.
Wrong Cardinal. Like,
Yeah, I saw.
different bird, same bird, but different bird.
No, I disagree with Anthony. Like, I think it's gonna be hard for him to see because, like, with the Houston Texans, you know, a lot of these years, the number 2 Will Fuller was there. They don't really utilize the tight end. They don't, like you said, Deshaun doesn't really utilize the running backs as well either. You know, not too heavily throwing the ball to him. So it's kind of like the whole offense ran through
see
DeAndre
that.
Hopkins.
Yeah.
Now with so many different, even Kyler Murray could run the ball. Drake, you know, so you got the targets going to Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk. There's a lot of mouths to feed. So, like you're saying, I think maybe like, you know, 7 to 8 targets might be a game, might be like his
which
max.
is, it's a
almost.
big drop from 10 plus, which he's been like right around 10 and a half.
I mean, he might
11.
go 7 for 75 and a
I
touchdown.
mean, 8 will put you at 138 targets, 8 a game. So if you do-
Actually, I'm thinking.
so that's 8 a
probably
game.
That's probably his.
That's
honestly,
the
it's
cap. So if you get 6 a game, that puts you at 96. No, yeah, 96.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
I'm gonna.
Did you just go full Rain Man?
I
on
just
us
went
right there?
fucking bow on you. But that's it. They don't play the fucking Texans.
I've actually been statting out like players, but I think I'm gonna start just statting out the whole teams and then look at like up and down scenarios and literally just go through and just it's kind of helped me a lot in my rankings. Like
That's
when
what-
I'm trying to like stat the actual quarterback projected like run pass ratio, projected like touchdown totals, this and that. Take away miscellaneous. Look at that. Like it's a lot of work, but it's helped me a lot with like my rankings of players. So I think I'm just actually gonna start statting them all out and. You know, maybe between the 3 of us or 4 of us, we could all come up with like consensus. Or I don't even mind just doing it because I think it's gonna help me with my rankings, and I'll just put them up on whenever I get on the site. But know that like when I do that, it's kind of me looking at like a median because I'm kind of taking high and lows,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I'm able to like okay, like what's the actual upside with that player off of what I'm thinking this is gonna go. So it's like I do stats, but then I don't like sit there and look. Well, yep, he's only throwing for 3,700 yards. It's like no, he can maybe throw for 42, 43. I could see that, or I could see him throw for 34. So it's like just statting these players out is kind of helping me see the ups and downs of all these players more.
And then you can make your own rankings, off of that too. So
Yeah, it just helps you adjust.
yeah, I've been getting more into. I mean, that's why I did this Stefanski thing. I've been trying to get more into just like finding out the offensive coordinators for each team, like seeing what they like to do. Because I mean, it's good to like know what players on what team, obviously, but you also want to know the tendency of like what they're doing. Like
What kind of plays they're running?
yeah, like a couple
Yeah.
years ago, I wouldn't have even have looked to think of like like Kubiak likes to run the ball out, or like certain guys are more this and that. So now it helps when you're drafting like shit. The number like for the Cardinals, like the number 4 receiver on that team is a lot more valuable than the number 4 receiver on any other team because they run out 4 wide sets so much. So it's like it's good to know what teams like to do too. Like the Niners like to run 2-3 tight ends. Granted, Kittle's a man, but it's just good to know those kind of things so that you know when you're trying to draft.
Yeah, because I remember when I first started doing this like 3 years ago. I had misses and I was like, why? What am I misses? Like what am I doing wrong to try and get better? And majority of the misses was because it was not accounting for scheme changes.
Yeah.
And like difference of offensive like philosophies coming in and like the pass to run. So like, and I've been kind of tracking it like over the last year and a half to 2 years, and the misses on my end have went down from like there. You still will get a miss on a scheme where it's like you had like Trey Burton. He just couldn't get it done.
Yeah,
but
with
the
the
scheme was
Bears.
trying to do it for him. But
Yeah.
so that's going to happen. So, but like you will still have your misses, but you will kind of minimize some of those misses on these players if you just don't assume okay it's going to be the same next year, and you look at okay like. This is a new scheme coming in. We have to account for this and try to make some adjustments. It'll just kind of help you overall, like with your, fantasy football. Like if you're doing your own research too at home, kind of just listen to us too.
For sure. It's a lot, but someone's got to do it. We'll do it.
Is there anything else you guys want to touch on?
I want to touch on you.
Oh heck yeah!
Did you guys bring up Nick Chubb squatting those like 600 pounds? Did y'all talk about that? Oh, damn it. I want to hear AMAC talk like Nick Chubb and talk about it.
To the next
They had a
episode.
video on ESPN. The bar was like, they couldn't even like, it was literally maxed out on the bar. It was like,
Really?
he was just
How,
murdering
how
it.
tall is Nick Chubb?
Tall enough
I'll tell you. I mean,
to
right.
party.
I'll tell you. Nick Chubb is 5'11", 227.
5'10", huh?
So he's a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, those legs are like 200 to 210 pounds.
I don't know. I'm 6 foot and I'm like 300 pounds, something like that.
Can you squat fucking?
I could. I
Whatever
squat.
the numbers, no.
Can you
squat
squat
all
all
the way.
How many times can you squat 60 pounds?
60 pounds.
Yeah. I'm just saying, how many times do you think you can do it?
60 pounds.
60. I'm not insulting you. I'm asking you to
bar
pick a
in,
number.
like tens.
Yeah, 6. Okay. I don't know. Like infinity.
All right. Beer
Just
bet.
wanted you to pick a number.
Can we call it the Infinity Wars
Challenge.
I mean, I could
squats?
literally. I'll jump to the moon with 60 pounds on my back, dude.
Dude, it's good because you got those long legs.
I'm huge.
But you're not a stamina guy, so it's gonna come into play.
You're very right.
You're more of a burst. You're like
Oh, you're more of a 20-second dash than like a 100 meter.
I get gassed with like the most pathetic things. we were playing football, and literally like one play, I would just go for it, and I would have to sit down for like
we were playing
couple
football, but we were
minutes.
playing in like a 22-yard field.
yeah. And I was
It was like like if you chop the field in like to the ninths, we were playing on like 1/9 of the field.
Hey, he,
and
runs,
I was getting so gassed.
he runs a post route. He just runs off the field. He's like, bringing this up.
No,
He was trying to run down
he
the
was
field.
doing
He just
that.
like fell. He just got sniped. The turf monster got him. He just fell. No one was even around him.
But you know what? You can bring that up, but you can't bring that up without bringing up the fact that I caught some sick ass passes after that.
Dude, you did catch a touchdown. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I
Who
can't
threw
do
the
this,
dime
guys.
to you though, Mike?
No, I'm saying when I ate it.
Oh, you ate it.
But I like during that time I ran hella far.
Yeah, you made a good catch too.
Yeah,
You should
hands
have
out.
You should have went to the XFL.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, you
I
fucking
could.
you mossed the medicine man.
I truly did.
Truly did.
No, I minkoed him. Okay,
All right.
What was it?
enough. Yeah, I know it's so entertaining hearing me talk about how unathletic I am.
We should get some video for that next time. Put it on the
Bro,
the
I
page.
would love to see that. See him squat it 60 infinity times.
Just like him getting like running the routes and how gassed he is after like 2 routes.
How fast do you guys think you could run a 40?
Now?
Right
Yeah,
now, yeah.
dude.
Now? We're like, now? I don't know. That is a good. This isn't the best time, bro. We've been out of the gym for like 2.5 months.
it's-
I've been
I think it's
working out
under
this past like
4.8.
week.
I'm not even sure. I could be faster. I've done a lot more athletic movements. Like I
Twitchy
stopped running
stuff.
sprints, but yeah, I've done a lot more twitchy stuff.
I don't know. That's a good. You know, we,
I think
we'd
I
have,
could
we might
run-
have to have
I
a
think
fight
I-
the
You
episode.
might be in your prime right now.
I think I could
Alright.
run a 4.5.
I might be like,
No, you can't.
I think I
might
could
remind
run a
myself
4.
of
I think
Devontae
I could
Parker
run a
out
4.5.
Mike meant to say a 5.4. He meant
No,
to say a
I think I
5.4.
could. I think I can run a 4.5.
okay, we're gonna time this.
No, we're hey. One of these
4.5.
episodes, we'll have a 40 episode.
4.5 40.
We'll run 40s and then we'll chug 40s.
As long as I get to measure out the 40 yards.
Whoever gets the furthest away from their guest 40 time has to chug a 40.
All right.
the 40 for 40.
Yeah, the 40 for. Yeah, they're gonna tell our kids about this.
If I'm actually faster, I think I can go.
Or hey, why don't we duct tape 40s to our hands
As we
and run
run.
40s?
That'd be pretty funny actually. I'd be down for that.
Oh my gosh.
I really think I could run a 4.5.
How much does that slow you down?
Dude,
A lot.
hella, bro.
How fast do you guys? How fast do you guys think you could run?
With the 40s taped to my hand?
No, regular.
Dude, that would be
Oh.
funny, bro.
We'll do both.
If I'm actually faster than I was, I think I can get like on a good jump, maybe like 4.68.
I mean, in
4.66.
college, I ran a
Can
6.7,
we do this?
60. I don't know, man.
Because the best I ever
I'll go and
timed,
think
best I ever
about it.
timed was like 4.73 or something like that. That's if I'm faster now, which I could be wrong. If I'm slower, I'm gonna be like 4.8, 4.9.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm slower, so I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say at least under 5, like for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're all under 5, except for
Well, Mike's under a 4.5.
Oh yeah.
Mike's,
I think I
Mike's
could.
under 4.5. That's
I think
fine.
I could run a 4.5.
Infinity times.
I would have to just really
Infinity
train.
time. With 60 pounds on his
Yeah.
back.
I think we should do that 40
And
for
chugging
40.
240.
I'm with that.
do-
I'm with that. We'll do
Let's
that.
do 140 and then 140 or 40.
It's a team, so you run down, you high five your 40, you chug it, and then you have to run back.
you're gonna shatter it right in
No, you just
your
have
guy's face. How you gonna slow down running full speed?
No, it's passion. It's passion. Bow. I'd watch.
Oh man.
We're just all bloody.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
thanks for listening. This
Thanks,
has been
guys.
the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast, the #1 fantasy football podcast. Don't stat check that one. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us a review on the Apple Podcast app. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. We're your boys. We dem boys.
Guadalajara.
Yeah, Guadalajara.
Holla. No, Guadalajara.
Zacatecas.
Guadalajara.
Sakatumi.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Saka souffle.
I'll take some sake. Honestly, right now. I haven't had sake in months.